Man, nice chicken order. I like that. How are you, John?
I'm doing really well. I'm not sure if it's time to panic again quite yet, or maybe it is. Do you feel like it's time to panic?
I don't
do.
generally panic.
When was the last time we had a good panic?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely subscribe to the theory that whatever is going on, and even when it's extremely tense, panicking absolutely makes it worse. So I don't know. Somehow at a pretty young age, I was able to kind of understand that, and I just generally don't panic. But I specifically don't panic. Like, they were trying to tell us that monkeypox was, going to be the next disaster and everything, and that sort of fizzled. I'm not saying we shouldn't do anything, but what is it exactly that's going on? Because you told me avian flu. I found out that you know what the most popular restaurant in China is? It's KFC.
Is it really?
Well, maybe it looks like it's the most popular fast food restaurant. I guess probably there's regular restaurants that people like better, but it's definitely the most popular. Let's ask it, fast food, most popular fast food. We know Xi loves it. He orders buckets of that stuff, and it's KFC. Okay, so avian flu. KFC is the most popular fast food in China.
Wow, look at that. I wonder how many restaurants they have.
Oh, over 5,000.
That's a lot of units.
I would say.
That's a lot of units.
But we're not talking about KFC today. We're talking about other chickens.
Well, I don't even know if we're talking about chickens, and that's what it's going to get interesting here. So, as you said, we've had a number of things happen over the course of the last couple of years besides the pandemic, right? So we had the monkeypox outbreak, we had a polio outbreak.
Here?
We had you had polio in New York, up in Westchester County.
Oh yeah, in the sewer or something, right?
Yeah. So we've had a number of reasons to panic. And, you were raised differently. I was raised where panicking is pretty much what you're supposed to do, is panic as quickly as possible. So for me, this is exciting, right? Whenever we have an opportunity to panic again, that's, that makes me feel at home. So this is good stuff.
Excellent.
So I was just looking at the news and thinking, well, gee whiz, is it time to panic again yet? And it may be. So why don't we jump, before we go to our patron-only thing, tell everybody about the patrons. And I think now Twitter is letting people sign up for monetization so that you can monetize your content on Twitter, just in case you didn't have enough, in case you weren't on enough platforms to list. So now you got your
right.
What do you got? Truth Social and Gab, and you're on so many platforms. I don't know how you do it.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot to stay on top of, definitely. And I did see that. I think Elon Musk,
right? You got Odyssey. You've got Patreon. You've got Subscribestar. You've got So you got Patreon,
Substack, crowdsourcingtruth.substack.com.
And how about Substack? How about the fact that Substack got cut off by Elon this week? We got to talk about that.
Well, I don't think that's correct. I mean, it did create a big dust-up between Matt Taibbi and Elon Musk. And my personal opinion is that Matt Taibbi made a big mistake. Elon Musk basically thrust him to the center of the largest, or one of the largest, national stories. I think raised his profile. He was in front of Congress. He was on the news all the time. I mean, of course, I've heard of Matt Taibbi before, but this really seemed to elevate him. And Elon Musk said, hey, we're going to add this monetization to Twitter. Why don't you publish your articles? There was a miscommunication at first, because Taibbi said that Twitter had blocked Substack, and that was not true according to Elon Musk, and it wasn't true according to what I saw. I was still able to post Substack. Oh, you're up to 12,000, John.
Yeah. No, I believe that they cut off links to Substack when Substack announced that they were going to do something similar to Twitter. Because other people that I know, their Substack links were marked as, no good. Now,
Well,
it may have been a bug.
wait a minute.
It may have been just like a glitch. But I
No.
don't think
Let's
so.
speak precisely. Because what our buddy Matt Taibi said is that the links were being blocked. And
Yeah,
that's not true.
But not just his. Anybody that was posting anything linked to Substack was being blocked. Not just Taibi, anybody.
Let's take a look at it because,
Yeah.
I don't
It's
have...
a big dust up. It's a big
It
dust
is.
up this week. Yeah.
I agree. So there was a couple things.
Especially if
First
you
of
just
all,
signed up, like you just signed up for Substack and just set all this stuff up. And now, if people can't get to your Substack from Twitter,
no, I hear you.
It's like, yeah.
But here's the thing.
It's like, well,
We've got this great picture, but let's tweet something. If you haven't read about the Twitter coup, you need to. Bing.
okay.
Okay, and then come over here.
Now put a link.
Substack.
Put a link to
There it
your
is.
Substack. Yeah.
Okay.
Put a link to you.
So there, tweet
Let's
it.
see what.
There it is. Boom.
All right.
No problem. Click it,
Okay.
and you're on Substack. So I'm saying, Matt Taibi, this is sometimes how these big fights begin. Because Matt Taibi said, it's being blocked, and I'm not,
I saw it being blocked for other people. So the guy that I did an interview with last week, Dr. Mark Changizi, his Substack was also being blocked that same day.
Might have been a bug.
It might have been a bug because we've seen strange behavior. By the way, I wasn't able to post screenshots and images to Twitter for about 4 weeks. I had to go through all kinds of gyrations, and now it's fixed.
Right.
So now,
that's the thing. When you're dealing with software, look, you know this. You've been in development. You got to keep a cool head. What I was going to say about Matt Taibi is, I've spoken to the guy for a total of like 5 seconds. He seems a decent guy. I don't know him at all. I think he made a huge mistake. Because whatever you think about Elon Musk, he's got a ton of money and he owns Twitter. And he went to this guy and said, hey, here's an opportunity you could take. Taibi could have wrote a book about this if we saw it through to the end and we unraveled this, and people who maybe were responsible for inserting the FBI into Twitter, maybe if they went to jail. It has the potential of being a truly historic event. And I feel bad for Matt Taibi for having blown that, because really Elon Musk could have called anybody. And it's not like he's giving him a gift or anything like that, but he has provided an opportunity. And I feel like Taibi made a big mistake. He should have said, hey, look, I got a contract with Substack and I can't be exclusive here. How can we work this out? I bet you Elon Musk would have found a way to solve that. But now Musk unfollowed him, kicked him out. He said he's not reporting on Twitter files anymore. And even worse, Elon Musk said, according to Matt Taibi, that's it. Twitter files are done. It's not done.
Yeah. Well, so there was also a fallout with Barry Weiss.
Was there?
The young lady worked at the New York Times.
What happened?
I don't know, some sort of falling out between the two of them, between Elon and her. So,
oh, man.
Yeah, there's a fair amount of indignation flying around, it seems. But
wow.
We've got interesting stuff to share with our audience before we go to the Patreon-only portion, before we go to Subscribestar and Odyssey and Patreon and all these other platforms. We've got some good stuff. So you want to tell everybody about where they can go to support our work if they want to support this research, because we are not monetized on YouTube.
Yeah.
So everybody understands that.
Well, did you hook up to monetize Twitter? That would, because they can also, did you get the blue dot on Twitter? I got the blue dot.
I can't use a credit card. I don't have the ability to use credit cards. So in order to do that, I need a credit card. And you guys understand. Yeah. So that's a little complicated for me.
So I'm working on setting this all up. I got the blue check. There's all these things that you need to do first, but people can follow this account. This is an old account at 21C3D. This is my 21st Century 3D account. Very small number of followers compared to the at CS The Truth account, but we got malicious social engineers, John, trying to destroy every single thing that I do. People will be able to follow us and watch this sponsor-exclusive conversation in about 20 minutes on subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/IamJohnCullen. Odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, and subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. So what is it that everybody is panicked about, John?
Well, the first thing is I reached 12,000 followers.
It's great.
And if you look real closely, that's really the number 3. And I know how much you enjoy that, right? So let me explain to people who don't know how we do math around here, because we do math a little differently, like our socks. So the reason that 12,010, zoom in on that again so I can show everybody how that's really a 3. So this is the way we do this here. So 1 plus 2 is 3, and 3 times 1 is 3. So this is 3. So 12,010 is really 3. So that's a secret code to Bill Gates to let him know I'm on him. All right, let's go to the next slide. So that's exciting. So this was the last kind of major pandemic panic, was this COVID-19 experience that we just went through.
Right.
And why don't we pretend like we're in second grade, and let's count the peaks together. How many peaks did we have on COVID-19? Can we count? 1, 2, 3. 3 was a big one, wasn't it?
4?
I think 4 is like that second molar off to the left. I don't think that little valley hip thing. Yeah, look at that. So we had 5 peaks. And what has happened since that 5th peak?
Flat. They'll tell you that the vaccines are great.
Fabulous.
But does that coincide? But it doesn't coincide with they started the vaccines 2 years before this.
A year before that, yeah. So the vaccines began in pretty much widely available in January of 2021, right? They were only available to VIPs like Joe Biden in December of 2020. And then in January 2021, they became sort of readily available. And that's where you see the peak. And so as they started to vaccinate, the deaths went down. But then we saw 2 more peaks after that. So it's kind of hard to explain. And I'm sure Dr. Walensky would say Omicron, and that would be the explanation. But the good news here, look at how good this good news is that for about the last year, there hasn't really been a whole lot of people dying from COVID in the United States.
Yeah, that's good.
That's about a year. All right, so that's a year. And if you look all the way to the right, it's about as low as it's ever been. And it's going down. It's not going up, right? That's as good as it gets, guys. That's what you want, is for it to go away. And this is what we call depletion of susceptibles. And it was Rosalind Ego, speaking at TEDx in Thessalonica, Greece, who taught me everything I know about depletion of susceptibles. So it appears we've achieved that, but I could be wrong because I'm not a virologist or an epidemiologist, and we don't share medical information on this show. This is a comedy variety show. So we just look at charts and stuff.
Now, man, you're breaking the bank on Rumble.
Well, that's the thing. So if people wanted to panic about the income inequality, I wanted to apologize for kind of hoarding all the money. I feel bad. I feel like, Bill Gates and these guys, it's like once you get to 100 billion, 150 billion, here I am. I've hoarded $6-7 from Rumble. And I feel
reparations
bad.
Here, John.
I want to give some back. Don't you feel like I should give some of this back? So I've made $6 or $7 now. I've earned from Rumble as long as I've been on that platform. So that's something that I'm panicking about because it just seems like too much. It seems like it's way over the top. All right, let's go to the next slide. Speaking of panic, I love viruses. I like all kinds of viruses, right? I like BSL-4 viruses the most. Like they're the ones that are interesting. Anything that's not BSL-4 is, it's kind of like junior varsity. But when you get to BSL-4, it's kind of like the Final Four, right? It's kind of like, March Madness, and now we're down, we got the best of the best. So when we start talking about your BSL-4 viruses, there's a couple that are real humdingers, and Marburg is just such a remarkable virus in that when it was first discovered in Marburg, Germany, I think 31 people contracted it and 7 died.
Ooh.
So when you got numbers like that, when 25% of the people who contract it die, and it's a hemorrhagic fever So it's like an Ebola.
So it's like internal bleeding?
Yeah, bleeding from your eyes, bleeding from your ears, that kind
of
stuff.
Can you recover from that, or it's like the second you get it, you're dead?
Well, 31 people got it, 7 died. So the other people recovered, but man, you want to talk about a deadly virus, man. Ebola and Marburg are about as nasty as they get because these are hemorrhagic fevers. So, this is just gross.
Should we even show that? Yeah, do people want to see a picture of a viral? Get ready. Yeah, here it comes. Close your eyes if you don't like stuff that's going to make you go, whoa. Here it is.
It's pretty gross. Yeah.
So this is the hemorrhagic fever, how it presents on this kid's arm or somebody's arm.
Well, that's one of them. That's one of them.
That looks bad.
Right now, yeah. So now we're going to talk about Marburg disease because it appears that they've been talking about Marburg in the news. So when they start talking about stuff in the news, and it's a new this or a new that,
you got to check.
The first thing I want to see, right, and the first thing I want to see, I go usually to the CDC or the WHO because I like my definitive sources, right? And I pull up the map. This is the first thing I do. All right, now go back up one slide because I want everybody to understand that I just don't whip up a map, okay? This is the CDC, right? So we're at the CDC site. This is their map.
Right.
I'm going to critique their map and point out what I think. So as a cartographer, as a professional cartographer and the founder, the guy who kind of helped put this ESRI thing together, I can critique this and tell you, well, what's good and what's bad about the design of this. Well, the first thing it tells you is these are countries reporting outbreaks of Marburg disease.
Right now?
Angola. Well, that's a good question. That's a really good question, Jason.
Oh, it's back 20 years ago.
Oh, look at the well. What do you mean? You mean that there's different dates?
I mean,
so that's not helpful.
So not really.
So you mean if there's a news story about a Marburg outbreak and the CDC shows you a map of where it was in the 1960s?
Oh,
that's not helpful.
Well, I think Nelson Mandela was in jail, right?
I want people to understand why it's important when you design your maps that you design your maps well. When you look at this map, you would think that Marburg is tearing through Africa.
Yes.
The problem is it's showing you the last 60 years of Marburg virus outbreaks, not the current outbreaks. Therefore, at arm's length, when you take a quick glance at it, you're like, oh my God, Martha, it sure looks like Marburg is tearing across sub-Saharan Africa.
Oh, 1967. I mean, this is a little strange.
Why is that relevant? Why is that relevant?
So but wait, here they had it last year.
Right. So how are you supposed to quickly differentiate where is Marburg now? Right. So it's in Equatorial Guinea right now, but I don't really need to know where it was in 1967 at the moment. And if you guys want to put a little slider down there to change the year, and as I change the year, it'll move the dots around to show us.
That would be helpful.
That would be cool, right? But you didn't do that, did you? No. You just threw them all up there for the last 60 years. Marburg virus was discovered, I think, in 1967 in Marburg, Germany. And so we got 55 years of outbreaks in Africa all on one map at one time. How is this in any way helpful?
Right. Well, if you were doing a history of it, it might be, but
exactly.
We're just putting this out and being like, dots. This is from the School of En Shandong Cartography.
I'm going to have a little chit-chat. Next time you go to California, I might have to fly out there and meet you, and we're going to have to go to ESRI, meet with Jack Dangerman and say, Jack, you can't just keep letting people design stuff poorly with the maps, man. There's responsibility here.
That's an excellent
people who are going
name.
To
he should become
Jack
a superhero.
Dangerman?
Yeah,
he is a superhero to me. So the issue here is that the CDC, I'm not questioning the CDC. I'm critiquing them. I'm telling you that the way they're using the software poorly represents the current outbreak. The current outbreak.
Well, it's misleading. Kind of.
If you wanted to know about the current outbreak of Marburg, why do you need to show me everything that's happened in the 70s?
It does say location and year down here in this incredibly tiny print.
Right. And
So
again, this is why at first glance, people will look at this and go, wow, look at this. Marburg is tearing across Africa. We better go get the shot. Is there an inoculation for Marburg? Because I better hurry up and get that.
Is there?
Look what's... I don't know.
They already started talking about, avian flu. Maybe we need a vaccine. It's like, oh, man.
Well, this is really the cause for panic. So this was kind of the reason I wanted to get the title on the show tonight, is that we now have the first death. Now, the fascinating thing here is that they're calling this a bird flu strain, right? H3N8.
Yeah.
They're calling it a bird flu strain. That's not where we get this from. It's an equine. It's an equine flu. This is
so why are they calling it avian if it's for horses?
Because it originated in birds, but it is the most common influenza in horses. So this H3N8, call it a bird. I mean, again, they don't know if COVID came from a pangolin or a raccoon dog or a bat, right? So when they tell you that this is a bird flu, I think you pretty much have to take that with a grain of salt because it's the most common equine influenza. Okay, let's go to the next slide. The challenge here is that China is reporting the first death from H3N8. This hasn't happened before. We haven't had people dying from H3N8 before. That is new. Now, here comes the fun part. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. Again, I love how they keep calling this bird flu. You can test for this.
This is duck flu.
It's what it's not, no, they show ducks because it's China and they're racist. So it's Peking duck. So they're like, yeah, this is where your Peking duck is coming from. They're so racist. This is India. This is the news from India reporting on China, and they hate China. So that everything in China is ducks or, whatever. So the idea here is it's an equine influenza. And if there's any veterinarians who are listening to the show, they're all nodding and going, exactly, H3N8 is the most common equine influenza. And what we're going to look at with our patrons when we go to the patron-only show is the PCR test for horses. So here's the irony. The irony is there's a PCR test for horses that will detect H3N8.
Already.
But your physician doesn't have that because veterinarian equipment and human equipment is completely different. So BioFire and ePlex do not test for H3N8. But if you go to your veterinarian, they can tell you if you have it. Isn't that fun? So we're going to take a closer look at that tonight.
Wow.
When we go patron only. Yeah, so that's a fun part of the show. So we're going to take a look at that. And then if we have 1 minute, we could just show the audience a little bit of the artificial intelligence artwork that came out this week on Twitter.
Did you do that?
No. One of the guys on Twitter has been using one of these engines, and this is the engine came up with this for Gavin Newsom. I thought that was excellent. Yeah. And if we have another 10 seconds, you can show everybody one or two more slides. This is Albert Bourla. It appears he's meditating in the depths of hell in this image, which is pretty exciting.
Oh, Tedros.
And then, this next one, yes, Dr. Tedros. As
a gangster.
He's got his AK. He's got his AK, and he's back in Ethiopia ready to
knows how to hold it.
Knows how to hold it. Yeah, he's got good trigger control. And then finally, the guy who blocked me on Twitter 2 weeks ago, Peter Dazik, with a bowl of bat soup. Oh, isn't that exciting?
He's in New York.
Cool? And he's got a bowl of bat soup. Isn't that cool?
That is good.
So I thought that was fun. So if you guys join us at the Patron Only show, we've got a whole bunch of videos, and we're going to take a look at this new influenza virus that's killing people, killed a person in China, but it's really an equine influenza, and it's not in the human PCR, it's in the veterinarian's PCR. So we may need to go visit the veterinarian next week. We'll see.
Amazing. All right, well, we're going to be back in just 5 minutes. People can join us for the sponsor-exclusive segment. There's a lot that I want to know about this. I missed that part about how bird flu became equine, so we'll go over that again. But we're going to be starting at 7:30 on subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/IamJohnCullen, and of course, all the platforms for Crowdsource the Truth. If you're new to Crowdsource the Truth, join us on Odyssey.com/@Crowdsource the Truth. I'm getting very good reports from people enjoying their time on Odyssey. Of course, you can also join on crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com. Articles and regular videos are free for everybody on Substack.com. You can read the Twitter coup on there, and you can also become a paid subscriber and enjoy the sponsor-exclusive content that you get on Subscribestar and Patreon. And thanks to all of the sponsors that make this show possible. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Stay with us. We'll be right back.